Greetings, somebody. Welcome back to Hitman Friday. We are so much excited because we'll be talking about something we know that is very controversial, but it's gonna be helpful at the end of the video. And this thing is the shame that you cannot cover, the shame that we cannot cover as a family, as a group, as friends, as a church. There are certain things that we cannot cover no matter what, no matter how powerful or anointed you are. And talking of shame, somebody, shame is exposing that which should have been kept private. Shame is something that is makes you feel so uncomfortable, so disturbing. So if you haven't yet subscribed to this channel, go and subscribe. Hitman Friday. So I will allow Mr. Chicago, you know him, how he drop bombs and information, knowledge, and every episode. I will allow him to take the floor. Yes, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Hitman. Pleasure to be on this platform. Okay. So viewers, we're talking about the shame that you cannot cover. So I'll give a biblical example. Okay. Mary Magdalene was a prostitute, but we see that Jesus was being found with her. Now, this is the reason, it was one of the major reasons people were fighting Jesus, because he was being found with different characters. Okay, the people were right and the people were wrong. He was embracing them. Now, to be a prostitute, it's a shameful thing. Number one, to yourself. Number two, to the people that you have been found with, even to your family. Now, Jesus was embracing Mary Magdalene, and mind you, sir, she was so much faithful, even in the death of Jesus Christ. We see Peter and other disciples, they had to run away from Jesus.
Yeah.
But we see that she was the one who was even cleansing the body of Christ, of Jesus, even in the tomb. She was so much faithful. So we see that even people who are in a state of shame, they try to embrace them. They might help you even in the future. They might be there for you, even in difficult times.
So I really think, sir, covering up the shame of somebody is more like a seed that you are planting for yourself.
Yes, it's a seed.
Because you don't know what will happen to you next year. You don't know who will come and cover you up.
Yes, that's true. So you have to harvest something. So it's a seed. So viewers, let's start covering somebody's weakness. Let's be there for them. Then number two, we have to know that what we call shame and what God calls shame, they are totally different things. Actually, what we call shame to God, it's not even shame.
Yeah.
Like what happened to Adam and Eve when they disobeyed God. God came down from heaven. He wanted to talk to them. But we find that Adam had to run away from God. When God called Adam to say that, where are you? He said that I'm naked. It's a shameful thing to be naked. But we see that God wanted to have a conversation with him. He told him to say that, who told you that you are naked? So shame, number one, it opens your sight to see that you are naked. It's a very painful thing. It will open your sight.
Wow.
And the other thing, what God calls shameful thing.
What's that? Just talking about Adam. So God wanted to have a conversation with Adam. So he never looked at whether he was dressed or not dressed. But if it was a human being that looked at Adam, he would be like, there's a theater and then so God him is just interested in talking to him the way he is. Wow. Catch that. Yes, sir.
So even what was happening in Sodom and Gomorrah, that was very much shameful to God now, to God. So there's what we call shame. You are not even aware that this thing is very much shameful. Okay? But God considers it to be shameful. So Sodom and Gomorrah were doing bad things. Sleeping, let's say the children sleeping with parents, parents sleeping with children. That was a very shameful thing. Okay, but even Lot was so much close, he would have even died.
Yeah.
Only he had to perceive that this is an angel. Okay, so be very much conscious in the place that you are being found. You might be in a place of Sodom and Gomorrah.
Imagine say in a place like Sodom and Gomorrah, sir.
Which is a shameful place.
Yeah, a shameful place. Yeah. And you know what, sir? Let's say, I'm sure during that time, everybody being found in Sodom and Gomorrah will be condemned because of what they do. Yes. Now imagine, sir, you're coming from a community where everybody is condemned. Because even Jesus Christ came from Nazareth.
Yes.
And it is recorded in the Bible. It was one of the most neglected places. Like, can anything good come out of that place? Those are the kind of words that people were speaking. So it had a certain picture. And we people find ourselves in a situation whereby, sir, can that family do this? Can that community? Wow. Continue, sir. I'm loving this.
So we see. So that's what God considers to be shameful. And the other thing that we see that is very much shameful, it's on the cross. Do you know that what Jesus went through, it was very much shameful? Number one, to the community. Number two, to the family. Even to his disciples. Even to God himself. No wonder God had to leave him. And he had to cry to say that, Lord, why have you forsaken me?
Why?
Because he carried sin. And sin brings shame.
Wow.
God does not look upon somebody who has sinned. It's very shameful.
It's very shameful.
So he had to leave. Because every time we hear in the statement of Jesus, I and my Father are one.
I and my Father. If you see me, you see the Father.
See the Father. Now the Father had to forsake him.
And he's crying now to say,
he's crying,
why have you forsaken me? Hey, big man, why have you forsaken me?
It was very much shameful because he was not familiar with that state. His father living him. So now how can we break free from shame?
From shame.
We see that viewers, if you are not putting on your shoes or something, and let's say an object that can protect your feet, and you step on a sharp object, do you know that the moment you see that you've got wound, that's when you start feeling pain?
Yeah.
So shame, it's a deep wound. The moment you start looking at your past, it will bring pain to yourself. It will hinder you. It will hurt you. So let's forget about the past and move on. That's when we get free from shame. Then the number two thing that we need to consider, it's there was a prostitute that was brought to Jesus that was doing adultery. Let me say she was committing adultery. Now the man, the question is, where was the man? They only took
but they were committing adultery too.
The two of them, because you can't commit adultery alone.
No.
Yeah. Where was the man?
Where was the man?
Now Jesus protected that person. If you haven't committed sin before, get that stone and then
cast it upon
the woman. Now, so this means that how can you break free from shame? We need to protect people that are in the state of shame. We need to protect them. We need to protect our leaders. We need to protect those who are leading us. Could be the president, the ministers, the MPs, the councillors,
pastors,
leaders, pastors, our teachers, even the ushers in
doctors.
Church. Yes, we need to protect them. And also, lastly, change the location. You know, there are some people who speak bad things about the shameful thing that you did. They'll continue speaking about it, and it's a wound. It will be hurting you. So change the location.
Wow, this is very, very powerful, sir. And you know, I realized there are people that cause us walk through shame. Like the moment you start being found with somebody, it's more like you attach yourself to a certain type of shame. Like because you've been found with him, everybody will be like, hey, those people. Not if today mona no start your muntu just because I don't know about that sham seven. Those things, they are small issues. They are bigger issues.
True.
They are bigger issues. So you know, so talking of these patriarchs in the Bible, people like Hosea, because if we get an example of maybe bachita but about football about it won't carry so much power.
That's true.
But if we get somebody from the Bible, somebody will be like, oh my God, Osea, God told him to say, go and marry a prostitute. So that's very deep.
That's deep.
Because that man had a family. I'd go talk of me.
True.
That man had friends. He had people that he was surrounded with. So, if the people that you also surround yourself with, they cannot trust or respect your decisions, you'd find that confusion will start. Because it's not everybody that took it so serious to say, but why should you go and buy? Oh, God has told me. You. God of all people, the Israelites once. So, such, when we look at it, it is so much shameful. But for God, it wasn't. He had the way he wanted to teach his people. Talking of Isaiah, they say that 12 faithful benefits fully in parish or the next 1 month, Mukadeva fair and dressed passion. People will start thinking it is weed. What drugs are these guys taking? Now we see this thing happening to Isaiah. God told him to say, you and your people, I want you to be marching naked for 3 years.
3 years.
Very shameful, sir. Not when you see a drunkard in the road staggering at you. No. We are talking about God leading his own people that are after his heart.
And he was a prophet.
A prophet. In our time, I'm sure that church, that organization, I don't know.
They would leave.
If any minister was, and then he was like, God told me to say move naked, people would be like, Baraba minister, no, Baraba president. Now we see these things. It is a shame that cannot be covered, of which even us now we are learning from them to say they walked through it.
That's true.
Jesus Christ, when we looked at it, was so much shameful. Now, sir, I realized there are people in our time that are coming from families that they are not proud of. They're coming from communities that they are not proud of.
That's
because
true.
of maybe how their community has been labeled, because of how maybe their family has been labeled. Imagine, sir, me. I'm coming from a family where Abafiashi bandi maybe Nindosh. Mashkuru bandi maybe Nindosh. You know, those things, my grandmother, she's into witchcraft, killing people, just something that is so much like an abomination.
That's true.
You would find that me as a child, as a son, as a daughter, somebody watching there, you feel so condemned. And it will be hard for you to be proud of. And because of that shame, to some, sir, they find themselves in a situation where, because of a certain shame, they won't be acceptable to places they will go. Because of that thing. Because everybody will be pointing their fingers to say, Nimwana cheated. But cheating, if. So they start feeling uncomfortable. Hence this. So how best can we help those people? We need to start looking at those things also. Not everybody that you see is depressed. There are some things that they are going through that are so much deep. Sir, you'd find that to some, Bambi Barwede, if I came ninkwata gonorrhea, ninkwata poverty, you can understand me. But there are people, the moment that I just try to get help from them, it will be exposed. And it's going to be a shame that I cannot cover. Because true. It is true I am sick. It is true I insulted. It is true I did all sorts of things.
That's true.
And my past, it is very true. But if I hold on to that, like Mr. Chicago said, let us get rid of that so that we can get to a better place as a nation, as individuals, as families. So I don't know if you have anything to say, sir.
Make sure, viewers, to subscribe to this Hitman show.
Yeah. So thank you so much, somebody. If you love this, kindly drop a comment so that we know. Yeah, if you feel there's something that you should add on in the comment section, feel free to say something. So thank you so much, and God bless you.